Hey everybody. So I thought I would do a video real quick on where we're at with our water kefir situation. If you've seen the other water kefir videos that I've done, you know we're struggling through it a little bit, but it's really worth it to me because I have noticed when I have water kefir, it is astonishing how much more energy I have. And there's no caffeine in it. There's no anything in it. It just it seems to just fix my gut in a way that I didn't even know it needed fixing. And it's amazing to experience proper energy in a body that doesn't experience proper energy really ever, without any caffeine, without any theobromine, without anything. So we're going to keep working on it. What I have today is I do have the dried sweet potato with skin on it that I made in the dehydrator so that I can add that as a yeast, as a wild yeast to the product. We won't do that exact thing today, but we are going to go ahead and throw that in here. And then you may remember that I tried making some pine needle soda a little while back, and it was fine. It worked out fine, but it was what I noticed, and what I think I shared with you, was that when I tasted it after like 2 days, it tasted real bright and piney and interesting. When I tasted it after 5 or 6 days, it had browned. The needles had browned, and it didn't taste fresh anymore. So this time I thought, well, let's make sure that we don't leave it in the solution any longer than 2 days. Okay. So we're going to look at this, and it's not brown because of itself. It is brown because it is a water kefir batch that you... It's weird because the water kefir you get at the store, which honestly I kind of prefer, is it's clear. It doesn't have any brown tint to it. I actually prefer that because my body just doesn't need that much molasses business in it. But using a natural sugar is important, and using a cane-based sugar is important. And so this one and giving it something to eat besides the white part is useful. And so we're going to, so this one was made with a light brown sugar beyond an evaporated cane sugar. A little bit of the cane sugar and a little bit of the light brown. So this I just put in here. It looks real pretty. Obviously, it's pretty cool looking. And this one, it looks bigger than it is. But there was just this big sprig when I was on the walk yesterday. So I thought, that's the sprig for me. You want to make sure it's not dry, that it's still green and pretty vibrant. We have had a major freeze this week, and so I don't know if there's any yeast left on that thing or not. There's probably not much. But what I am going to do is, this is sweet though, so I'm not going to, let me take it out over the sink. One moment. We're going to take this out, just so that if it flicks around, it won't get everything sticky. I'm going to rinse it out, actually. There we go. Okay. There we go. Coming back. Okay. And I can smell this. It smells a little bit kind of sour, which is expected because it's a ferment. I am going to taste it. Let's mix it around just a little bit. Oop, and I'm going to get that needle if I can, because it's going to start. You don't want green stuff to ferment very long because it'll make it gross. Okay. That's still really, really light. I really want it more fermented than that. It's still a little bit sweet. And So I think the yeast is probably dead because it didn't bubble up at all. And it would be eating, given that it's that sweet, it would be eating that right now. What I'm looking for here to show you. Here we go. Is this. These are my current water kefir grains. I did several batches of this, and they do tell you that when you're first feeding it, you may have to like throw out the water. Problem is, I was kind of running low on water after a while, and then we had the freeze, and I couldn't go get water. And so but you really can't rinse it out with like regular water because it's got fluoride in it and other stuff that like kills stuff. So, and you really need the stuff to be alive. So I put these in the fridge for now. I haven't checked online to remember how I need to feed them and keep them up, but they actually haven't shrunk very much, which they're supposed to do in the fridge. So I'm not too worried about them. But I have these in large containers for now. Oh, here's the other thing about using molasses heavy sugar. It will ferment into rum pretty fast, and I can't have that now. I know I did one video over the holidays that I was able to have a little bit of alcohol. I can't do that anymore. My body's not doing too well at the moment. So I need to be kind of careful about that. I just keep these in my box. This tells me these are here for a reason. They're fermenting. They're supposed to be out, and they're supposed to be kind of near the dehydrator so they stay warm. Let me taste this one too. You can see this one is a different color, and this one I did just do the EVAP cane sugar. Of course, all these sugars are organic, mind you. Can't have any pesticides and stuff in something where you want to grow bacteria. Okay, it kind of just tastes like sugar water. So since I use good sugar, this gets a little bit expensive after a while. It will, over time, it will even out and it will not be as expensive as buying the water kefir at the store. But honestly, so far I have found that what ferments the best is using the water kefir from the store as starter. The water kefir that I made from that has really, really done well. And it was really awesome. I think to get this going, this is about a quart. I think to get this going, I'm going to add some water kefir from the store. And let that eat into it. I've heard that it sometimes likes a little lemon juice too. Now, I've said this before. If you're going to get water kefir from the store, you want to bring it home, leave it out for a few days. If you live in a real warm climate, maybe just one. If you're in Arizona, leave it out just one day. But if you're somewhere else, a little more temperate, or if you're, in a decent room temperature house, leave it out for about 3 days and then put it away in the fridge. As long as, this is going to be swelling, and then put it away at the back of the fridge, get it way cooled down. Don't freeze it, because as soon as you're freezing stuff, then stuff that's alive is going to start going out on you. This still has a little bit of bulge to it, so I'm going to be careful how I open it. I'm going to do our opening over the bowl system. But what that will give us is a much stronger kefir, whether you're going to drink it straight out or whether you're going to use it as a starter, okay? And I know I kind of say that all the time, but this might be your first video. I don't know. Okay. Here we go. Have my O'Doul's bottles that are clean and ready to go. Okay, I'm going to try to open this. You want to open this like you would anything that's under pressure, right? Like a champagne, where you're going to do kind of a dual, very controlled opening. Okay, let me just do a quick taste of this. Yeah, that tastes strong enough to use. You won't know that until you get familiar with what the level is that you like. But anyway, for me, that's a good level. The reason I've just kind of left these for the moment too, I mean, these have been sitting there for like several weeks at this point, at least 2-3 weeks. It's because I didn't want to clutter up my fridge anymore. I've completely stopped making kombucha for the moment because it just got to be like too much in my fridge and too many levels of things going on. And since I know that I can't have the alcoholized version, I got to be more careful, about how I do that. So I had a friend come over and she took some of it away, which was great. So she can try it, but I got to go a little slower on this stuff. So, but I think I will, since we're going to bottle these, I think I will do that part. I'm not going to make it fancy and try to make it all fruity and stuff because I just don't care that much at the moment today. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So something I did do that might be helpful to you is as you're gathering bottles, kombucha bottles or water kefir bottles or whatever, start to kind of organize them. So I've had enough of them at this point where I can say, okay, I have 12 water kefir bottles, and I'm trying to get to where I have like 15 of each, because then if I give some away, then I'll still have 12. So it's that, the fermenter's dozen, if you will. So I'm going to grab a few of those. Because the bottles really are made differently one from the next. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Each brand, they look like the same bottle, but they're really rather different when you get into using them. So we've got 4 here in case we need them. I don't know if we'll need all of them or not. And sorry, this keeps coming open. Sometimes it just likes to be open. I've tried to fix it, but the fixes haven't really worked. So short of spending $2,000 on a new cabinet, which seems unwise. Okay, here we go. So this still has some sweet in it, but if I put this in there and it starts fermenting, it's going to get pretty dry pretty fast. And by dry, I mean like it's going to eat up, that yeast is going to eat up that residual sugar like real fast. So you can see this made a little over 3 cups. Let's see here. Where's my, is this the 3? Or I'm sorry, not 3. 6. Yeah, so that's about 6.5 cups going on 7. I'm going to rinse out my bottle. These bottles are anywhere, to get kefir at the store is anywhere $3 to $4 where I am. So it's not cheap. It's at the moment not a lot cheaper to make it, but it will be over time because the starter was $20, but it's holding up a lot better than that other one that I used. So that's good news. And so what I'm going to do here, let's just think a minute. What kind of fun stuff might we want to put in here, or rather in here? You do have to put it in each individual bottle. And I thought that was kind of fussy and dumb when I first saw people doing it in kombucha videos and such, but you really do have to do that because you need them all to be fermenting at the same rate. And they won't ferment at the same rate if you've got different, if the mixture that you're putting in, like some of it settles at the bottom and some of it's at the top, and it just doesn't work well. So here we go. I've got, these are all Kavita bottles, I think. Oh, not this one. I do try to keep, just so that I can keep it straight in my fridge. I try to keep this like, if it's water kefir here, it's water kefir inside. You don't have to do it that way, but that works well for me. Okay, something that I have that I've wanted to kind of get rid of is I have some frozen berries. They're sort of random and just taking up space, although it looks like there's too many of them to really do this with. So I think I won't use, well, I don't know. My body is saying yes to the blackberries, so let's do that. Okay, I'm going to put, this is a good, probably 3 blackberries. Actually, what I'm finding is these are too frozen to use. So what I'm going to do, we're going to put them in here. And they'll be thawed enough to use in about 20 minutes. Or if I did them in the dehydrator earlier. I don't even remember where I got these. These are probably like old from, you know, who knows what. But what you want to use, you want to end up with about a quarter or so cup of like sweet fruit juice equivalent. Okay, that's what kind of feeds the yeast. That's what gives you kind of a real nice fruity flavor and the fizz that you probably want. So to get a quarter cup juice equivalent, you really need quite a bit of fruit. And we're doing 3 different bottles, right? So 3/4 of a cup. So maybe this will work. It'll be a little much, but I do kind of want to use this up. So I'm going to just dump all this in here. And I'm going to do that trick that I told you last time of having one bottle be in a plastic Perrier container. And you know I'm not a fan of plastic, as I rinse out my plastic bag. But it makes such a difference in being able to know when your kefir is ready and like perfectly fizzy for what you would want, that I am just sort of in love with that practice. So I'm going to do that for like the first year. Those are going to be my training wheels. And then maybe I won't need to do it after that. You know, maybe I'll know enough in a year that I won't need to do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to put some honey. And keep in mind, these blackberries are probably going to be on the sourer side, right? They're not going to be heavy on the sugar since they're not homemade in Michigan. What I try to do with the honey is just count out number of seconds that I'm doing this. I didn't do that right now because I'm talking to you. So I'm just going to eyeball this. Okay, that's probably not enough. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I also like the honey because it does ferment on its own a little bit. Okay, this one's bigger than that one. I thought it might be. Get this one up to the same level here. I think that's about right. A little more. So we're looking for 15 seconds worth of honey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And even at big manufacturing places, it is common that where the label is important. Like they actually pay attention. Okay, we're going to fill this to some part on the label, okay, or some place on the jar. And so you can see this is just a little bit below where the label starts, as is this. This one, yep, this one too. So that's cool. Let me find my test bottle here. And you notice, unlike with kombucha, I'm happy to use these 16-ounce containers. And the reason is because this has no caffeine in it. And there's no, there's no like drugs to this. There's no like chemical interaction that is difficult for me. So it's okay for me to have a whole big container if I want. Also, I've noticed water kefir holds its bubbles a little better than kombucha. So once this is open, if I didn't need a whole bottle of it, I wouldn't care. Ooh, this one, oh dear. This one smells like, ooh. Yeah, it had some alcohol in it. This had some tepache in it, I think. Yep, sure enough. Has that label and everything. I guess, and I wasn't rinsing it carefully because at the time, it looked like that was going to be okay. Like anything fermenty in here would be handy to have. Okay, but you want to keep in mind, this is 16 ounces. This is, I think, 12 Oh no, this is 16 too. Okay, so it's exactly the same, which means we do exactly the same amount of honey, which is going to make things easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And since usually we would put the fruit in at this point, but we're not going to yet until after it thaws out a little bit, which I'll do later. What we need to do then is measure a little more carefully into here than we usually would, since we can't eyeball between this and this, like they're going to look different. So I'm going to grab my funnel. And as I said before, you don't need to have a fancy funnel. There's nothing special you need to have on that. Although I do need to be able to find it. That's odd. Usually my funnel is easily at the ready. This is odd. Ooh, and I just hurt myself and I don't know what I did. Okay. Well, this will be okay. We'll just be a little careful. Well, no, actually that won't work. We really need the funnel. That's really odd. And we can't use this because we're going from a half-gallon jar, actually. And it doesn't go in there very well. Okay. Well, so we are going to wing it a little bit. What I'll do is pour it into, the great thing about mason jars is that they kind of self-measure. They are measuring items in and of themselves. So we're going to use 16 ounce here, but just go to the rim. I'm going to do one more stir. Get anything that's on the bottom out of there. Okay, there we go. Oh, although, yeah. Okay, we're going to try this, even though, okay, you know what? I did it wrong. Okay, so what has to happen, this is how we have these things happen. If I put this, which is not fully fermented yet and is diluted, it's like the 16 ounces and then the other stuff that I had, then we will end up putting the honey in too early. Honey does have antibacterial properties and such. And so you don't want to do it until the ferment is strong if you're going to use it for flavoring. So we need to leave this for another ferment, basically redo the first ferment, which is fine. And that had the pine needles in it, but I think what you have to really do with the pine needles, I think after doing that 2 times and having it not work very well, you have to do it in the spring. After the frost is done, and after it's been out for about a month, let's say, and it's had time to get that yeast on it, it's had time for some wind to blow. You could do it in the summer as long as the needles are not too dry and they're like fresh needles. But I think the way that I've been doing it in the fall and the winter, it's not going to really work because the yeast is dead on there. It doesn't have anything to eat. So it's too cold. So what we're going to do, these will be fine. There's nothing in here except honey. The honey is stable. It's going to be fine. So we've got these ready. See? And we'll put the blackberries in a container to just thaw quietly. We're going to turn back on this dehydrator. And we're going to let these warm up. And we have our thermometer right now. It is 64 right there. Feels warmer to me. But the closer we put it to the dehydrator, the better off it's going to go. The quicker it's going to ferment. So I'm going to move these. And there's nothing wrong with, having these ready, right? I'm going to put these in here to remind us that those are the ones in process. We'll put this away because this is the kombucha jar. I'm going to put our honey away. I keep mine up here. We're going to put our jar away. And it's okay to realize that midway through, you didn't do it quite right, or you're about to do it a little bit wrong, because then you can course correct. So we're just course correcting now. We'll be back next time and we'll see how the next round goes.